Good afternoon, rather. We will begin the Compton Special Council meeting set for today at 1 p.m. Please stand for a moment of prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Public comments are for non-agenda section, provides the opportunity for the citizens to address the city council agenda on agenda and non-agenda items. The council is interested in your comments, but prohibited by state law to take action on items not listed on the agenda. Please, your comments may be taken under consideration and referred to staff. City council may briefly respond to a statement made or question posed. Thank you. The first person, Robert Ray.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, we need roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Zarita.
Here.
Galvan. Present. Mayor Pro Tem McCoy.
Yes. Robert Ray.
And
Robert Ray Compton.
What?
Comments are strictly to the items on the agenda only.
Okay. Item number 1, no problem. Items 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stupid, outrageous, and ridiculous, and a whole bunch of other adjectives. Really, we do not need a special election. We do not need a charter amendment. The population of Compton is never going to reach 200,000 people. Council members do not deserve a salary of $43,500. Mayor does not deserve a salary of $54,300. Outrageous. If you didn't want the job when you read the charter, you should never have ran for office. There's a whole bunch of people would be very happy to sit in those seats for $600 a month. I ran for that third seat, $600 a month. I would have been happy to be sitting there for that. This is outrageous. There's no money to pay for this. You're part-time public servants. But what gets me above all, Mr. City Attorney, the wording that you're putting on the ballot is so vague and misrepresentation. The amendment to set the salary of council members not to exceed the median household income for the city of Compton as determined by the Census Bureau's 2011-15 Community Service 5-year estimates, and to set the mayor's salary to not less than 125% of the compensation of a council member and not more than twice the compensation of a council member, but with salary set by resolution. Resolutions, you can change these every week, every time the wind blows, which means you can change your salary every week. That's what a resolution does. Totally stupid. This is not going to fly. And as soon as I leave here, if it's before business hours close, I'm going to call my friends at Gibson Dunn, have them challenge the legality of this, and the Secretary of State's office. This is too vague. And how can you put anything in the budget to pay somebody a salary when it just says a percentage of this or percentage of that? There's no money, dollars. Now, if you want to put this on the ballot, you need to put some hard fact numbers so people know what they're talking about. This percentage of this, percentage of that simply is not going to fly. And if this thing does pass, I suggest all of you get recalled.
Roberto Carrillo. I want to talk about the salary for the council persons. I think it's ridiculous. What credits do you win to get a raise up right now? We need to fix up the potholes and the trimming tree and never been done anything. So what credits you win to get a raise right now? ¿Cuáles son los créditos que han agarrado ahorita para aumentarse el salario de los concejales?
Excuse me.
Nada.
Excuse
Yes.
me. Do you need an interpreter?
No, it's okay.
No, but I can't understand you. I'm sorry, if you said the same thing, I didn't catch that. You went so fast.
Okay.
I was just looking, Mr. Cabrillo, if you need an interpreter, we'll have him come down.
No, I don't need it.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
So I was talking about what is the credit that you get to get actually raise up your salaries right now, because we need a lot of things to be done in the city. Fix the potholes and fix the streets and trimming trees, and we never get nothing done. They just go and make a Mickey Mouse and fix the streets, potholes, and they run away. The potholes are already messed up again. And I think it's something that is not needed, but your salary is 600 by the charter, and but you get 650 plus 650 plus your cellular privilege that you have a free phone, so it's more than 1,250 plus the cellular phone. So we need to take care of that issue that the taxpayers are paying for everything. So for that reason, I'm not agree with the salary for adjust the new salaries for the city council persons. And also, when Omar Bradley was here, that administration says that when population in Compton comes to 100,000 people, it's going to be changed to six districts. And now they postpone it from that time to Eric Perodin, and the next postpone it and postpone it. Now they want to raise up at 200. So that means you don't want you never want come up to the change of the 6th district, because you want to get a power grab in Compton. To not get those 100,000 people in Compton is going to be never, maybe 20 years. So we are not going to see that changes. So be reasonable to that and says, please, let's change it now to 6 districts.
I believe legally you're supposed to have 3 council people here at this time. So I would suggest you just hold this meeting until Gabrielle comes back to her.
I think you can continue with audience comments, can't you?
Do we have to call for a recess? We'll call for a recess. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, and members of the audience. My name is Pedro Payan. I wish to speak on item 5 of the agenda today. Would you please pass these out to the council members? Item 5, Exhibit B, 4th paragraph on the page, which states, anytime when the city council finds an ordinance adopted by and not less than 4 affirmative votes that the population of the city exceeds, it was 100 and you're asking for 200,000 population.
Sorry,
Mr. City Attorney?
that's not on this agenda. I'm sorry.
That to me kind of smells like a discriminatory move. But
Sir,
I would like to present the city council with an alternative plan, which has, excuse me, may I have your attention, please? I wish to put a proposition here for your consideration with dates and timetables. Article 5 of the city charter is about elective officers. But first, let me say that the city, in my opinion, does not really need 6 councilmatic districts. I believe the better solution would be to divide the city into 5 councilmatic districts and amend section 600 to read, presiding officer, mayor, a member of the city council to be nominated and elected by its members annually at the second meeting of July of the year. The formal term for the city council action shall be called city council reorganization. The mayor shall have a vote in all its proceedings. He or she shall be the official head of the city for all ceremonial purposes. And she shall perform such other duties as may be prescribed by the charter or as may be imposed by the city charter consistent with his or her office. In other words, to put it simply, let's keep our 5 council members and have them rotate the mayoral position on a yearly basis. Thank you very much for your consideration.
But should I just announce that it's not on the agenda? Thank you, Mr. Payan. But just for the record, that redistricting item is not on this agenda. See? See? That's what I'm saying.
Mayor Pro Tem, there was an authorization, there was a notice that went out to authorize the special meeting. That notice had a list of items.
Yes.
Not all those items made this agenda.
Okay.
So there's a discrepancy between, I'm sorry?
Item number 5 is to consolidate with the county. It has nothing to do with the population.
Right.
Oh, I see. There's an Exhibit B that's
So
stated.
you, can I see yours?
They should ignore Exhibit B. There's an, on item 5, there's an Exhibit B that deals with the population. You can ignore that. That's not part of the, resolution.
Oh, but it is on the back of this, So it should not be, right, okay. I apologize, that item should not be on this agenda and it will not be considered.
And just so you know, when the item was brought to my agenda, it was on the agenda. What was proposed at one time, I requested the city manager that it be removed because I share the same concerns that the last speaker shared about that particular item that was on the agenda, about adding more council members.
Thank you. Barbara Calhoun?
Exhibit B should not be on it, and we can't talk about it. Yes, we can. All right.
The population item is not before council to be considered.
Okay, so Exhibit B is off the table.
Yes.
It shouldn't have been up there.
Correct.
Okay, so I won't talk about item B. If somebody else wants to talk about Exhibit B, let them talk about it. Okay, first of all, honorable bodies. That was gonna be one of my topics about the 100,000 to 200,000, but I'll go by what you say. I want to talk about the pay raise. And y'all know I know about the pay raise and when I was there and when the former people were there and how much we were getting. I think what really disturbed me about this is that, was it a year ago or 2 years ago when the DA said they're going to investigate the salaries of the city council? You know, I thought it was a threat. In my opinion, it was a threat. I really didn't feel that the district attorney, since they don't do their job in other matters that pertain to the city of Compton, you know, when people don't live in the district or whatever, or are using money, you know, they wait for people to be here for 15, 17 years and come back again. So I would, and then the mayor was up there, and it was so funny how the mayor did y'all, and y'all didn't pay attention to it. Because how the mayor did it, in my opinion, is when she talking about, yeah, let's lower the salary. You want to talk about it? You know, be about it. And all y'all voted to go to $600. And I said back then, I said, why would they let the mayor, forget about the DA, forget about the DA. You got a city attorney here. And I'm going like, ain't no way in the world I would have voted to lower my salary down to $600 when we know that it was the $600 plus the commissions and all that stuff. No way in the world would I have voted for. I wouldn't have listened to it, but you did. Now you find that I guess the work is too hard. I don't know. I know the work is hard. I used to do the work that and more. And I also had a job. So I had a job and I had to pay. And the pay that I got from the city, I used on whatever events that I did with the seniors or whatever. That was just my choice. You do what you want to do with your money, because I was getting a regular paycheck because I had a job, you know. And I'm really not for it at this time. And then I'd like to know, what does that do to the budget? You already approved the budget. What account will this money come out of for your raises? And then with your raises, does that mean the liaisons are going to get a raise also? It doesn't state here. I guess the liaisons raise has nothing to do with you guys. I don't know. I'm not up there. So, I mean, if that can be answered, it's fine. If it can't be answered, that's still just as fine. But does that mean that they will get a raise also? I wish you guys had fought more and kept that $600 raise. And I'm glad that you came back in, Councilman Galvan. And I understand what you said while you went out. I got that. I'm glad you came back in after it was over with, because we thought the meeting was going to be called to an end. So thank you for coming back in after your talk and explaining that why you had left out. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I know for a fact that I've been up here on this dais with just one other council member, and it didn't stop the public comment, so I didn't think that it would stop it at all.
No, I understand. Not bad.
Thank you. Bruce Boyden.
Good afternoon, Council. I'd like to just make a comment on number 4. I really am in support of changing the charter and looking at the increasing of salaries. We live in a democracy, and people make choices by voting. And from what I'm understanding and what I'm reading here, it simply is saying to me that this should go on the ballot for the citizens to decide of the salary of the council and the mayor. Is that correct? Nobody knows? Am I reading incorrectly?
That's correct.
So, my question is that I am actually in favor of making the amendment to the charter. The charter needs to be revised, and it needs to be revised not just around salary, but in every aspect of when it was first written, and incorporate all of the amendments that have been done over the last 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa Wright.
Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Wright, District 3. Regarding item number 4, I'd like to see what we're getting for the salaries. I'd like to see a description of the goals and objectives in writing, and I'd like to see it fleshed out before we put it on the ballot. I agree with some of the other people. It's like, where's the money coming from? If we're going to vote in November, the budget's already approved. I don't understand where the line item, where it's coming from. We could use some more help in the areas of public works, code enforcement, signage, streets. So if we have money for that, I could see that the money going there. But if we're going to increase, and I understand why we're going to do it because it is a lot of work, I'd like to see what we're getting for the money. And it needs to be public, transparent, listed, goals and objectives, and then accountability and consequences if it's not met. And I agree with Boyden that we need to probably adjust the ordinance so that there's no recess. You work all year round. If it's a full-time job, you work all year round. There's no August recess, rest, or whatever. Then you're going to have to rewrite how you take your trips, how you spend your money, and there needs to be accountability on how we go about checking and balances. And everybody needs to read the memo. If there's an immediate memo from the city manager that you can't do this and that, everybody needs to maybe sign off on it that they've read it. Because that's not fair for people to have policies and procedures in place, and then our elected officials aren't, abiding by them and say, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, blah, blah. No, we need to check that. And that's about it. I mean, having these some of this wording in the agenda, it's a little convoluted. Number 2 and 3, you want to have an election anytime there's an election on an established date, and then you want to have a special election. You need one or the other if you're only going to have one election the rest of the year. Not quite understanding that. I know people, they may need to rewrite it so regular people can understand it because all of us didn't have the benefit of going to a high expensive school. So it might be nice to rewrite that for some of us so we can understand it at a glance. And then have documentation backed up, have it on the website. Each one of the districts has their own, portal, and they can have that stuff. And also have flyers printed up so that the shut-ins, people who don't use social media, can get it in their water bills. And you have a repro department in the city, they can use that, or each district can chuck in $200 and print something in English and Spanish and mail it out to people so they'll understand it. Thank you.
Thank you. Gilda Bluford.
Good afternoon. My name is Gilda Bluford, and I live in the 3rd District. And I'd like to talk about agenda items number 3 and 4. It's a lot going on in the city of Compton. It truly is. I, too, am in agreement that the charter needs to be changed. And what I would like to see is not just the salaries change, but I'd like to have a job description listed in the charter, which involves more than just being 18 years of age, living in a district, and being a registered voter. If we're going to pay you a salary, then we need to have some evidence of what you're doing. When you go to particular conferences, we'd like to have a report of what you've done, not just merely the fact that you've gone, and under warrants we see where the dues are due and payable. We'd like to actually know what you're doing. I don't understand what the purpose of the election on November the 7th is. Is it for salary and change, or is it for the marijuana referendum, or is it for both? And who's going to pay for this special election? Because I see here under fiscal impact, it says this is an estimated cost. Usually elections go up, they don't go down, and that there's been no appropriations in the city clerk's budget. So where's this $107,000 for the election coming from? Which brings me to item 4. If we pay for the election, where are we gonna get the money from for your increase? I'm just curious because I don't understand. I don't understand how these numbers were reached. I don't get it, and I don't think there's anyone that can actually explain it to me to my satisfaction. So again, I don't mind giving you an increase. I don't mind paying you because a person's value is tied to their salary. However, when I watched that city council meeting Tuesday, and I saw my council person from the 3rd District get up and walk out of the building during a vote, am I paying for that? Is that what I'm increasing salaries for? I voted for someone to represent me. Representation means voting in my best interest. It does not mean getting up, walking out of a door. It means sitting there and doing what's right. So I'm assuming that's what this pay raise is tied to. When I was employed, we called them merit raises, and they were based on merit. I haven't seen anything that warrants a pay raise at this point. Maybe we can come back and visit this later. Thank you.
Thank you. Marjorie Ship.
Good evening, Mr. City Manager Rambo and Interim Mayor Tanya. My name is Marjorie Shipp, and I live in the 3rd District. I, too, would like to address something that happened at the council meeting last week that I was very disturbed with. There was a very important discussion going on to hire a lawyer or a firm to come in and close the marijuana shops in Compton. The public voiced their concern against the hire. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. If you're going to come back to an item on the agenda, but because it's a special meeting, the comments are restricted to the items on the agenda.
Okay, so we can't discuss what happened last week?
Correct.
Okay, well, I'll have to come back when you come back on September the 5th.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. Maria Villarreal.
Mi nombre es María Villarreal, vivo en el Distrito 1. My name is María Villarreal and I live in District 1. Agenda number 4. This special meeting is about basically, come up with more money to the people that we vote in for to represent us. Everybody has spoken and say what they think they deserve when you say you're going to represent the people. When we say we need a good representation, that means we need it. We paying for it. We pay taxes. And we deserve the best of the best. We don't have to live in Beverly Hills. We don't have to live in Palos Verdes to have the best of the best. But it seems to me that only the people who's interested in getting a raise, it's for their own personal, and I understand this is a job that you're performing, but you're not catering to our community. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. I live in District 1, and District 1 has not changed at all. And we're supposed to do the better job, and it's nothing happening. I don't really care if my district person is not agreeing with this, but it is nothing but the truth. We need to do a better job. We need to do what we say we need to do. I live in your district, and therefore I deserve the best of the best representation. And I've been involved in Compton for the longest. And yes, a lot of things, we, the Latinos, are the majority, not the minority. Therefore, we need 6 districts. We do need it. It's time to amend the city charter. And all of you who are representing now, you need to take a quick thinking and think about what do you want to do. Why you sitting there? Are you really for Compton? Or are you really for yourself? Are you really for the kids? Or are you really for yourself? Are you really for making Compton changes for the betterment of our people who lives here, including myself? What do we want to see? We just not come in and take a position in the city like city manager and come in and post a paper on my door and say you have been evicted. You need to think twice before you actions. City attorney, you're supposed to be looking for the betterment of the legal issues here in Compton. Now let's do our job. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie Hollis?
Good afternoon, Marie Hollis, District 3. We're here today, and one of the items on the agenda, I understand, is raising the salaries. And, but I think before we address this issue, that there are many things that should be said and many comprehensive changes that need to be made. We are all saturated with the Donald Trump situation, the debacle in Washington. Well, we can look around Compton, and we have a Donald Trump right here in Compton. Progress is our challenge. Comprehensive needs are not taken care of as well in this city as it is in other cities. Consider raises before you're considering raises before you stabilize our budget finances. Failure to take care of the Compton's own, like for an example, our veterans, holding out on the annual stand down. That should be a citywide affair with full cooperation by all city officials. We can't even do that. Overlooking Compton's annual Christmas parade until the community came forth and protested. No events takes place in this city promoting the city. You provide for outsiders before you take care of your own. I've always heard that charity starts at home before it spreads abroad. Allotting locations for outside agencies first, rather than Compton's agencies. Our streets are in disarray, and we're talking about raises. Campaign is over. Street repairs are at a snail's pace. But we are preparing and proposing for exorbitant raises. How do the raises that you are proposing compare to the other cities' pay? The service that we get, of course, is no comparison. You must keep your campaign promises. We saw transparency all over the place. I have a problem about this meeting that was called today. It raises eyebrows. Citizens are usually working at this time of day, and of course, parking conditions around this area is horrible. No plans were made for the accommodations of the citizens. If we park, some of us have to park as much as a block away, and it's difficult to walk from that parking area to the chamber. Talk of changing the city the charter, not following proper procedure. Are we changing it for personal benefits? Is this Trumpism? Integrity. Get it real and mean it. Get rid of valuable employees. Is my time up? Okay. You don't work with the entities of the city. Outsiders are given sites that are needed for where our own agencies should be considered, and city organizations, starting with the veterans site. They had to come and beg for a site. This should have, well, I'd like to finish if I may. Okay. This should have been automatic. The Chamber of Commerce, a much-needed site that can blend and help the city function more efficiently. These entities are ignored. Sometimes you're like the Democrats and the Republicans in Washington, accomplishing nothing. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am also here regarding this pay raise. I'd like to know where this pay raise is coming from. I'd like to know also, wouldn't we do better, instead of giving a pay raise, get better sheriff's department that are not racist? Also, more of the code enforcements, because I do think we need code enforcements. We also need people to respect the people that are standing and speaking instead of emailing and not paying attention to what's going on. Do you know what's going on, Mr. Galvan? I didn't think so. But we do need to have a better city. Like I've already spoke to you, Mr. Rambo, street sweeping, terrible. So these pay raises could go to street sweeping, sheriff's officers that are not racist, and code enforcements. Thank you.
Thank you. Willie Carson.
Willie Carson. I didn't really know I was signing up to address. I thought it was just a sign-in sheet, but I will take this opportunity to say something. It seemed to be that transparency is a problem when these resolutions or these recommendations come forth. And since we have 4 council people for 4 areas in this district, it seemed like they should write a statement of intent or what these issues are about. Now, I'm a novice. I don't know all that's going on here, but it should be plain to the citizens of Compton exactly what the intent. When people get up and say, is it for this reason and that, we should know what the reason is when we come in here and you putting forth whatever you putting forth. That way I think we could really vote on what's really presented before us. And again, like I said, I didn't come to talk. I just thought it was a sign-in sheet.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Cindy Satoya.
Hi. So I kind of wanted to thank you guys for starting the construction and the street sweeping. Unfortunately, I don't understand why you had to do it on the day you put a special council and you blocked off a road to come in here. And I just find it how convenient. The Memorial Day debate, there was also a blockage of the tree trimming and then a bomb threat on election day. I just find it funny that every time the people really want to speak out and come out, there's always some kind of blockage. And I think, I'm glad you find it funny, Mr. Galvin, because that what is actually leading to item number 4. Here you want to raise, but yet you're constantly late. You gone half of the time. You come back, you're late, you leave early, and you're very disrespectful to us. So I want to see, why do you think, or any of you, why do you guys think you deserve a raise? Back in 2005, there was a news investigation reported on the salaries of Compton that the DA was actually sanctioning the council. And I'm going to state what Asia Brown mentioned. She was put here, I believe we can consistently address repaving our streets, adding additional lighting, addressing new public safety, all the public services we need. Brown said, "I don't believe we deserve to have full salaries, and that we stated the public record July 28th before I actually received a letter from a DA. In that letter, the district attorney's office reportedly warned Compton officials that they can be prosecuted if the high payments continued." So I want to know, where is it that you guys are planning on getting this money to that you deserve, you get paid for? You ran and you knew what you were running for, and now you kind of want to backtrack on that, and exactly what you were running for back then. I don't see any changes made from 2005 to 2007. And even now, we should make a change and a reform. And one of them should be that no one here should run have a position more than 2 terms. You guys have been on there way too long without any changes. You guys don't deserve these positions. These positions get earned and they get voted for. None of you are going to get voted for to a raise. None of you deserve it.
Thank you. Forgive me. Genario Ramirez? Ramirez, I think this is Renaria? Reyna? I'm not sure. Okay. Mr. Hollyfield?
To the City Council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, what happened to service above self? Service above self. What happened to that? That's the first order of business. And then it's okay if a person is doing a job. Compton Boulevard is my passion. It represents 4 council districts. I've been talking about this. I can go from Central Avenue to Long Beach or Atlantic or whatever, and there has been no changes. And you want more money. I really wasn't going to speak on this. And then there's 100,000 people. Prior to the district, splitting the city up into 4 districts, there was a lot of talk about adding 2 more districts, 6 districts at 100,000 people. Then they kept talking about 85,000, 95,000, and they kept it under 100. Now I'm hearing about 200 or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out, where does the service above self come in at? First of all, you're supposed to have a job. You're supposed to do this thing basically free. Service above self. You run on that. And that's the thing. A lot of people around town volunteering, giving their hours and hours and hours to make Compton better, getting no money and not asking for any, and paying out of their own pockets. And happy to do so. I'm one of them. And my wife, Emily Hart Holyfield. Not asking for a dime. Hours and hours and hours. Service above self based on passion. Now, when I drive down Compton Boulevard, in Paramount, they changed it because there's some kind of an image. In Gardena, they changed it, an image. Why can't we do something, a council person, and then it should be, the mayor should be here, and the other council person should be here. This meeting should be called again. And the person should not get up and walk away from it. That's number one. This is business. And when you understand business, then you can conduct business. You are legislators. Your job is to make laws. And I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know that. I'm very disappointed because Compton Boulevard have not changed and is not changing. And we're getting ready to have a campaign of beautification on that boulevard. I'm in the 3rd district, and my name is Benjamin Holyfield, and I'm the president and founder of the Compton Business Chamber of Commerce. We're going to attract businesses and jobs to this city. And we can't do it with a ghetto look. So we have to have a moratorium on the ghetto look. And the council must be working together on this issue. Must be. I'm disappointed in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I'm not too disappointed in the 3rd because I'm from the great 3rd district, and we're working on that.
Thank you, Mr. Holyfield. Joyce Kelly.
Good afternoon. I am Joyce Kelly from the 3rd District. Certainly you don't care about the people in this city. Like people said, you just got elected, Tana. You all knew exactly how much money the charter said you get. I've told you time and time again that you need to get a job. You don't care about the people. If you cared about the people, why would you call a special election? Isaac, Jana, Tana, for today. You're supposed to be on vacation. Today is National Night Out, which is celebrated throughout the country. It's some place where the families can go and get associated, have fun with the peace officers, with the sheriff in the city. This city, the entire city, looks like a third world country, and you sit there and want to give the mayor a raise after she said in May of this year at a candidates forum, Tana McCoy, one of the greatest and worst mistakes she made in her life that she regretted was to appoint you to that seat. Jana Zarita, she, or the people say, someone says, she has a recall for you. She's enacting. And you want to give her a salary increase, but my little buddy Isaac, well, he came into town with Ajax, so that's understood. But people, we don't need to change the charter the way these people see fit to change it, because they haven't done anything with the charter except now all of a sudden they want to look and read about a salary and change it. They want to change the elections. They're waiting. Are they still waiting for the signature to come in for marijuana? Well, keep on waiting, because we're going to educate the people. Don't vote for this. You want to have special election. You don't even know what your job entails. If you did, this city wouldn't look like it does. If it did, you would have some interest in the people in the city. But no, you don't. Get rid of your liaisons, and you can have money to do some other things. We don't need all these breakfasts or town hall meetings with food. We already have enough weight. It's all fattening. Take the money and go back to finish the potholes that you started before the elections. You're showing your true colors. You're showing transparency. We all see it. If we didn't see it, we all wouldn't be here today. And to have a 1 o'clock meeting today, how transparent is that? Oh, we already figured it out. Look at the people here. There will be more people. The people are tired of being tired. They're sick of being tired. And I think they're going to do something about it by voting against you. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Boone.
Lynn Boone, City of Compton. The last time the city had a balanced budget was 2013 under Eric Perridan. The last time the city had a complete audit was 2013 under Eric Perridan. The last time the city had a credit rating was 2013, and we don't have a credit rating now. And you got Asia and you got Emma sitting up watching this. You know what? Come on, councilperson in District 1. You know, smell the coffee. They set this up. They set this up. They set this up here to make you look as bad as possible. The thing of it is that, and the city clerk and the city attorney, I've been reading resolutions and researching resolutions for a long time. And this is the first resolution that I've looked at that had names on it. And you can look at the resolutions that follow it, and there's no names on resolutions. Even the one that was accidentally put on here to change the population, that doesn't have a name on it. So come on, they set it up. And they're sitting up here right now looking at this because they're watching the people come up here and tell you off. The thing of it is, when the commissions were pulled, if you had have actually read that letter, Jackie Lacey didn't sign that letter. That letter was signed by a little peon that sits in the satellite office out there by Mark Ridley Thomas. And you see the city attorney, the city treasurer, and the city clerk still get their money because those commissions are legal. We are a chartered city. That money should have never been taken away from you guys. The complaint that I had was that I wanted you to do the work. And those commissions are needed. They're needed now more than ever. We just got a grant of $450,000 from MTA, and that money needs to be monitored. We get more gaming money than ever. That administration fee will be paying for you guys right now instead of going into the general fund. Yes, you don't need a raise per se, but you need to be getting that administration fee. You guys are the administrators. Instead of that CDBG grant money, that 20%, instead of sending Renee to these different hotels, that money needs to be going to you. So stop sitting up here with this bashing and pull that item number 4 and go ahead and bring back those commissions. You need to go ahead and pull item number 4. Bring that back, those commissions, take this money out of that general fund and just do your job. You know, that's all I'm asking you. Because the city attorney, they already are still getting this money. And, you know, just do the right thing. And don't sit up here and take this bashing. And we don't want no Kevin Monk in District 1. Councilperson, District 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moon. Patricia Moore.
Good evening, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I get chilly in here. I am here because everything Lynn Boone said is correct about what you deserve. I'm just so sorry the city attorney didn't act aggressively when that letter came. I'm a former council member. We were compensated for serving over those commissions and those boards. I called Barbara Calhoun. She's a former council person. I asked her, I said, Barbara, how much did you receive as a council member while doing the job that we were doing? She said, no, I didn't get much. I said, no, look and see what you made. She was getting $1,500 every 2 weeks. When I was on the council, we were getting $1,500 every 2 weeks. This $600 is ludicrous. Nobody with the workload that you all have should have to get compensated that meagerly. Nobody. That is ridiculous. And anyone here who gets up and says the things that I'm hearing said is because of personal attacks. Has nothing to do with professionalism. Has everything to do with their personal feelings toward each one of you. You've got a city treasurer that makes $100,000 a year plus, and is he ever in his office? And we just had embezzlement by his assistant of $3 million. I didn't hear none of the fight about that coming from this audience, very little. And that was horrible. If it had been any other community, people would have been in the streets calling for a recall. But this man can make $100,000. The city attorney has his salary, you all have said. The city clerk has hers, and he has his, the city manager. You're supposed to be paid for the work you do. That is what we did, and that's how we were compensated. We were compensated. Forget this ridicule, stupid stuff out here. This is crazy. None of them would get up here and do what you do. They want to get up here and attack you. But that's why they didn't get elected. So let's be real about this. You guys work day and night. I see you. Yes, there are issues that we need to have handled. Yes, the city needs cleaning up. Yes, the streets need to be done. But we still owe you that. And Pedro Payan is exactly correct. This mayor, I've never seen anything like this before. We've never had a mayor that felt that this was a monarchy. Never. It's always been a shared experience. So if we could begin to address this city and govern it accordingly, then we would all be a very happy people. But we can't please everybody, and we're not going to. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have to do all three because we have to do the Yeah, I want to make a motion to recess the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Remind me of that place that whenever I go do my plan. Hey,
Madam
excuse
Mayor Pro
me.
Tem,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
we like to, we just made a motion
don't
to
run
recess the meeting till tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Oh, man.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
You don't
I
want
wanna
to
call
hear
for a
what
roll call.
Roll
Okay.
call.
Okay, recess the meeting, but you guys should get raises, okay?
Oh, well, the mayor's going
Recess the meeting.
to be here.
You should get raises.
Roll call.
Recess the meeting.
Councilperson
Number one, you
Galvin,
should get at least $2,000 a
Rita.
month. I ain't sitting down
Yes.
unless they tell me to sit down.
Hold-
Hey, security got to tell me to sit down. Ain't no,
So now I don't know what,
tell
now I don't
security
know
to
what to
sit
do.
down. Sit down. That guy gave me
There's
the
a
notion
motion
to
on
sit
the
down. I
Take the
understand
vote.
it. Sign
There's a
it.
motion on the floor to recess until 10 p.m., 10 a.m.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's the motion. There's no,
Why? We're here now. Can we handle the business?
There's a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the
Who
floor.
made the motion?
moved by Galvin, second by Zarita.
We're at the point where we can have discussion, right?
We're at discussion.
Discussion, why are we trying to move the meeting?
I have to take off. I got a text. I have to leave.
Oh, I'm here now, so
I
we
gotta
have
leave
three.
too, so we,
I'm the only one that's here.
I'm calling for the question. I'm calling for the question. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
You can't, well, let me just say this.
Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Can we recess until, I'm still chairing the meeting, Councilwoman Zarita.
There's a
I'm
motion
here.
on the floor. Calling for the question.
Okay, here's the call. As the chair of the meeting, I want to ask that the audience would remain orderly so that we can conduct the people's business. And I'm also going to ask that now that we have a full quorum, if you all need to leave, Councilwoman Zarita and Galvan, we fully respect that.
We
but
have a
can-
motion on the floor.
I have the right to ask whether or not we can rescind the motion
And I have a
continue
right to
with
say
the
there's
city's
a
business.
motion on the floor.
I am aware that there's a motion, Councilwoman Zarita. I am asking that, Councilman Galvan, because you have to leave, do you mind rescinding your motion so that we can continue forward?
I want to do the vote first, and if not, then I'll be more than willing to rescind it. But I
Mr.
want to stick with my motion.
Okay, Mr. City Attorney?
We have a motion. We had discussion and we're ready for, unless there's other discussion, we're ready for a roll call.
Discussion on which item?
The motion is to recess until 10 a.m. on tomorrow, August the 2nd.
The motion is to recess the meeting until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
That's the motion on the floor, yes.
Councilwoman McCoy, are you able to continue the city's business today?
I can recess till tomorrow.
All right. All right. Well, we're here. As you all can see, we're able to move forward, but it is the will of the council. Madam City Clerk?
Councilperson Zarita?
Yes.
Galvan?
Yes.
McCoy?
Yes.
Sharif?
Am I voting to?
To recess until tomorrow at 10.
That's clear.
No, yes?
No.
No? Mayor Brown?
Absolutely not. No.